We will be discussing various infection of the skins, among which bacterial and fungal will discuss it today. In the next class, we will be talking about viral and other parasitic infection which infect the skin. So coming to bacterial, these are infections caused by bacteria. The primarily it is caused by two bacteria, which are 2 gram positive organisms called as Staphylococcus aureus and group A beta hemolytic streptococci. If you consider skin, the only two organisms which commonly cause infections of the skin is bacterial infection of the skin are these two, that is Staphylococcus aureus and group A beta hemolytic streptococci. Staphylococcus aureus infect the intact skin, whereas the group A beta hemolytic streptococci infects the traumatic skin, means which. So we classify bacterial infection, that is pyoderma, into primary and secondary. Primary is the one where there is infection to a normal skin, such as we divide it further into superficial and deep. Superficial we have folliculitis and impetigo, whereas deep we have psychosis barbae, furuncle, carbuncle, ecthyma, cellulitis, erysipelas, and paronychia. Secondary pyodermas are those where the bacterial infection happens to a pre-existing skin disorder. So there can be an eczema which will get infected, that we call it as infected eczema. There is an ulcer which will get infected, that we call it as infected ulcer. So bacterial infection of the skin is primarily divided into primary and secondary. Superficial folliculitis is the superficial infection of the hair follicle. Staphylococcus aureus, scalp and face, caused mainly by Staphylococcus aureus, and the most common site involved is scalp and face, where you see follicular pustules with rim. This is a photo of superficial folliculitis, where you see wherever there is a hair follicle, but the base of the hair follicle there is a pustule, and surrounding that there is a small rim of erythema. This is what is folliculitis. If you see a cross section, this is a hair follicle, and at the top there is collection of the pus material, which is giving a picture of folliculitis. Impetigo. Impetigo is something, a condition which is seen in children, especially preschool children, on face, arms, and legs. It's an infection caused by Staphylococcus aureus and group A beta hemolytic streptococci. We have two types, mainly impetigo contagiosa and bullous. Whereas impetigo contagiosa is most commonly caused by Staphylococcus aureus as well as beta hemolytic streptococci. Impetigo is usually caused by Staphylococcus. These are the two types of impetigo. Ecthyma. Ecthyma is another type of bacterial infection which is commonly seen in diabetic people or immunocompromised individuals, where you see a thick chocolate colored adherent crust with the erythema. When removed, this will leave behind an ulcer. So you will see this type of thick dark colored crust which is very sticky, which is very adherent to the skin, and when you try to remove it, it leaves behind an ulcer, which will eventually lead to scar. Then there is deep folliculitis. The superficial folliculitis, you saw the pus accumulating only at the top, whereas the deep folliculitis, the pus goes deep down the hair follicle, and this is what is furuncle and carbuncle is all about. Psychosis barbae is another type of deep folliculitis, where you see follicular type of picture in beard area. This is called as psychosis barbae, where Staphylococcus aureus infection causes follicular discrete papules or pustules which coalesce, and raised plaques studded with pustules are formed, and this is called as barbae. Furuncle is an acute and deep infection of the hair follicle. It's a deep infection of the hair follicle, seen commonly in hair bearing areas, caused by Staphylococcus aureus. On examination, it is tender inflammatory nodule which will have pus and which usually heals with scarring because it is quite deep under. So it's acute deep infection of the hair follicle, and it's mainly seen in the hair bearing areas, caused by Staphylococcus aureus. Tender inflammatory nodule Pus discharge is seen and it heals. This is the photo of furuncle. Carbuncle is a deep infection of the group of contagious hair follicles. We saw furuncle, it's a deep infection of the single hair follicle. But when the multiple group of hair follicles are involved, we call it as carbuncle. This is commonly seen again in diabetes and mainly seen in diabetes and immunocompromised individuals. The common site is nape of the neck, shoulder, hips, and thighs. Pus discharge from the multiple points are seen, which will give like a sieve-like appearance. This is Then we have erysipelas and cellulitis. Erysipelas is again another soft tissue infection of the skin, which is caused by group A beta hemolytic streptococci. It could It's mainly characterized by local erythema, edema, and tenderness and pain. With the lymph node examination, you may find enlarged lymph nodes, and when you do some blood tests, you will find increased WBCs, neutrophils, and there will be fever. This is a photo of erysipelas where you see a big red lesion on the cheek. It will be warm, and when it's usually caused by group A beta hemolytic streptococci. The border is quite well demarked here. So if you can see a normal skin and the affected part. Whereas cellulitis, here the infection is caused by again by Staphylococcus aureus and group A beta hemolytic streptococci, but it's slightly deeper. So it goes deep dermis and subcutaneous tissue, whereas erysipelas was more superficial. This cellulitis is slightly deeper and it's warm and tender, and the surface may show focus of pus and necrosis for it. Paronychia is something, it's an infection of the nail fold. So paronychia is the infection of the nail fold where the lateral and proximal nail folds get infected, they become swollen, and it's mainly seen in people who are working in water for a long time or who are washing their hands more frequently or they have the habit of nail biting and thumb sucking. It can be acute and chronic. In acute, you will see the pus-filled lesion at the side of the nail. This is very painful condition and that has to be drained. More of a dry, scaly nail folds, which will cause a very constant dull aching pain for a long time. The treatment remains for paronychia is if it is acute, as I said, it has to be drained. Whereas for chronic, we usually give some anti-inflammatory drugs along with oral anti. This is chronic paronychia where there is damage to the cuticle and lead to scaling and dryness in the. So people who are washing their hands to have their job is such that they have to keep their hands immersed in water. They can do some preventive techniques such as using a plastic or a gloves or even the balloons can be cut and put it to the finger so that we can prevent chronic. So erythrasma is another type of infection which is commonly seen in the axilla, which is caused by Corynebacterium minutissimum. Here you will see a brown patch in the axilla, and the treatment remains for this is fusidic acid or oral erythromycin. There is another condition called as pitted keratolysis, which is again seen in people who are working in a damp environment or people who have hyperhidrosis, whose skin sweat a lot. This is caused by Chytococcus sedentarius or Micrococcus. There is hyperhidrosis of the feet. Foot is odor is present and itching will be there, but when you see there will be multiple pits. It's caused this erythromycin. Again, you can do treatment as erythromycin and topical fusidic acid or oxide. Secondary pyodermas are those bacterial infections which happen because over the existing mm, uh, existing pre-existing skin disease such as eczema or any ulcer. So management principles include identifying how do you manage this bacterial infection. You have to identify The predisposing factor, why someone is getting this infection, is such as poor hygiene, malnutrition, recurrent trauma, diabetes mellitus, pre-existing skin diseases, or immunodeficiencies. Investigation that has to be done is you have to work up for the predisposing factors. You check for if there has diabetes, check if there is any immunodeficiency. The simple things that can be done is take a smear and send for pus culture and sensitivity, and also for so after you can know the sensitivity, you can start the respective antibiotics. The commonly used antibiotics we use is topical such as mupirocin and famicite, whereas the systemic we use a penicillin group of drugs. So the next we'll talk about fungal infections. Fungal infections are usually divided into superficial, subcutaneous, and deep. As we divided in bacterial infection, here also we divide the infections into the depth of involvement. That is, superficial is due to the fungi that involves fully keratinized tissue, that is stratum corneum, hair, and nails. Whereas the subcutaneous fungal infections are those it involves dermis and subcutaneous tissue also. Whereas the deep mycosis are those which can go within the body to the internal organs of the body along with the skin. So these are the division of fungal infections that we usually commonly see: superficial, subcutaneous, and deep mycosis. What are the predisposing factors for this? Predisposing factors include tropical climate. If the climate is has a lot of humidity, usually the fungal infections are quite common. Manual labor population, low socioeconomic state, people who sweat profusely, friction with the clothes, synthetic innerwear, that is, we are wearing a cloth which doesn't absorb the sweat easily, malnourishment, and immunosuppressed patients such as HIV, diabetes, congenital immunodeficiency, patients on corticosteroids, immunosuppressive drugs, they are all prone for fungal infections in general. So, talking about some of the common fungal infections, we have pityriasis versicolor, which is a very superficial infection caused by Malassezia furfur. The clinical features include uh, basically you see it in the young population where there will be discrete multiple macules, hypopigmented or hyperpigmented macules, commonly seen in the trunk, neck, and seborrheic areas. So this is how pityriasis versicolor looks like. When you see multiple white patches on the face, on the chest, on the neck, and how to diagnose this? To diagnose this, we need to just take a scraping from this lesion and put on a slide and add potassium hydroxide. That was what we call as KOH mount. And when you see it under microscope, you see multiple hyphae and spores, what we call it as spaghetti and meatball appearance. So the other infection that is commonly seen in the skin is dermatophytosis. You must have heard about this a lot. What commonly people say it as ringworm. Okay, so this is mainly caused by a group of organisms called as Trichophyton, Mentagrophytes, and Epidermophyton. They are usually transmitted from human to human, or from animals to human, or sometimes even from soil to human. So how does it work? It like say it gets a contact, it adheres to the skin, and then the fungus invades the stratum corneum, that is the top layer of the skin. Then it causes the disease. So we call it dermatophytosis, that is ringworm. Based on the area involved, we call it as we give different names for this. For example, if it is involvement of the head, we call it as tinea capitis. If it is involvement of the face, we call it as tinea faciae. If it is involvement of the beard area, we call it as tinea barbae. If it is involvement of the trunk, we call it as tinea cruris. If it is involvement of the palms, we call it as tinea manum. And if it is involvement of the soles, tinea pedis, and nail, tinea pubum. They can be arsenic, sarsenate, or this is tinea cruris, where it's a dermatophyte infection of the inguinal region. So if you see, this is the inguinal region, you see a big lesion of tinea infection in the inguinal area. Area of erythema and pruritus is seen in the folds between scrotum and inner thighs. This is sharply demarcated with raised erythematous, scaly advancing border, which may contain pustules and vesicles. Tinea manum, it's a dermatophyte infection of the palms and interdigital space. Reasons for different clinical picture related to lack of sebaceous gland on palms. Here it may not be exactly like an ringworm. We see basically we see a lot of scaling here, and mm, it's mainly involves the palms and interdigital space. Tinea faciae is the same. You will see an annular plaque in the face area. Um, it mainly has itching and burning sensation, especially when the person goes out sun, and almost always associated with tinea lesions in other parts of the body. Here you can see in the photo, this is the tinea. And then we have tinea capitis, which is involvement of the tinea skull. So this is commonly seen in kids, rarely seen in adults because the sebaceous gland which is there in the skull, usually the sebum what is secreted acts as a fungostatic and it doesn't allow the fungus to grow easily. So um, this fungus to grow easily. So uh, uh, tinea capitis is commonly seen in children. This is how the tinea capitis in children look like. There may be multiple spots of alopecia. When you see closely, there may be black dots or sometimes just a patch. So we call it as black dot tinea capitis, where the hair shaft is involved with the invasion of dermatophytosis. And when you take a KOH from the hair follicle, you can see the hyphae. This is another picture of tinea capitis with black dots and area of Kirion is more severe variant where it's more severe variant where it's caused by the fungus which are usually seen in animals. So it is more inflammatory and will lead to a big boggy swelling in the scalp, which will have a lot of pus discharge. Um, and also lymph node swelling will be there in the surrounding area in the draining areas. So this is Kirion. Kirion is something, it's a boggy swelling in the scalp with pustules. It's a type of tinea capitis. And then we have tinea pedis, which is uh, fungal infection of the interdigital space of the feet. Also called as athlete's foot because it's commonly seen in people who wear the shoes for long, sweat a lot. Tinea unguum, that is the dermatophytic involvement of the nails. Toenail is commonly involved than fingernail, and men are more commonly involved. Common organisms that cause tinea unguum is Trichophyton rubrum, Trichophyton mentacrophytes, Epidermal phyton flocosum. The treatment for most of the tinea infection is topical antifungals, that is clotrimazole, ketoconazole, miconazole, econazole, sultaconazole, luliconazole, and amlorphine. Oral treatment includes fluconazole, griseofulvin, itraconazole, and terbinafine. Fluconazole is given as 150 to 200 milligram per kg per milligram per week, whereas the griseofulvin is given as 500 to 750 milligram per day. Itraconazole is given as 200 to 400 milligram per day, and terbinafine is 200 to 250 milligram OD, single dose. There is another fungal infection called as candidiasis caused by Candida albicans. Or mother organisms are Candida krusei, Candida parasilosis, and Candida tropicalis, Candida pseudotropicalis. The sites of candidiasis could be cutaneous, gastrointestinal, and vaginal. So sites involved usually are mucous membrane, that is oral candidiasis, vulval candidiasis, and candidal balanitis. Then we have skin and nails. And when it involves Oral candidiasis, it can present as whitish coating on the tongue or and the mucous membrane, which is called as thrush, and as a patch of erythema, that is chronic atrophic form, and adherent with the white plaques, that is chronic hyperplastic type. In immunocompromised individuals or immunocompetent individuals when they are using steroids. Then we have vulvovaginitis, that is itching and soreness, which can happen in the vagina. Um, Belloposthitis, it is a tiny pustule seen on the glans penis, especially after intercourse, or fissures can be seen in the glans. This is another manifestation of candidiasis. Candidiasis. Then we have flexural candidiasis or intertrigo, where the retention of especially the sites where there is a lot of moisture, candida can grow, which leads to maceration around the like interdigital sprays or underarms or groins. So that is called as intertrigo. Nail can also be involved, which is especially in the form of chronic paronychia, swelling of the nail fold with pain and discharge of the pus. Chronic recurrent superadded bacterial infection can be there, and onychomycosis, which is destruction of the nail. Treatment for this again is predisposing factors has to be treated. Why a person is immunocompromised, that is more important and has to be treated accordingly. Topically, you can give clotrimazole, methanazole, ketoconazole, or cyclopyroxalamine, and whereas the orally you can take ketoconazole 200 milligram 1 to 2 weeks, itraconazole 100 to 200 milligram 2 to 3 weeks, and fluconazole weekly once tablet can be taken. Just that. There are certain subcutaneous fungal infection which you should know. The most important ones are mycetoma, chromoblastomycosis, and sporotrichosis. So this is it's a triad: tumefaction, sinus formation, and grains. Chronic granulomatous swelling, predominantly of the feet, with discharge of grains and varying shades. Foot is more commonly involved than hands, trunk, and scalp. Color, consistency, and feel of granules help to differentiate the cause. Blackish brown granules are fungal etiology, and foot is usually deformed, and secondary infection of bacteria is quite common. This is the picture. These are the organisms which cause. That is, if it is bacterial, it is Streptomyces group. We divided eumycotic mycetoma and actinomycetoma. In eumycotic, which is fungal, we have Madrula mycetomatis, Madrula graciae, Acrimonium species, and Exophaelogean cerni. Whereas in actinomycetoma, which is bacterial, we have Nocardia species, Actinomadura, Actinomadura pelteri, and Streptomyces. Then there is chromoblastomycosis, which is a chronic fungal infection of skin and subcutaneous tissue, where you see verrucous lesions on the skin called by cladosporiosis. Organisms is mainly Pheolophora species, Pheolophora verrucosa, Pheolophora pedrosa, Pheolophora compactum. In clinical features, you will see mainly a warty lesions around the skin. This is again seen in the farmers or people who work in the soil. Lower extremity is commonly involved. When you do a biopsy, you see for copper-penny bodies, medullary bodies, or sclerotic bodies. Surgical excision, cryotherapy, and amphotericin B and itraconazole are options. This is a clinical picture of chromoblastomycosis. There are certain systemic infections that can happen with fungus, especially one most important thing that we should know is systemic candidiasis, which is commonly seen in immunocompromised individuals. Skin may have certain rashes, but most of them will become hemorrhagic later. And what we call as chronic mucocutaneous candidiasis and paronychia. Treatment is IV amphotericin. So this is all about bacterial and fungal infection that you need to know. Very briefly, I have described about the common bacterial and fungal infection. There are many more, but these are something which we see commonly and which may be helpful for you in your practice. Thank you.